Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
When Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him?" But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" Then Jesus, again greatly disturbed, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, "Lord, already there is a stench because he has been dead 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone, and Jesus looked upward and said, "Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I've said this for the sake of the crowd standing here, so that they may believe that you sent me." When he had said this, he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Unbind him and let him go." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
When somebody we love dies, it's quite a disruption in our lives. Our grieving can take on a wide range of emotions: sadness, anger, loneliness, laughter even, peace, emptiness. It may feel at times like we've crashed into a brick wall, and then the next moment we laugh at a memory. When death breaks into our lives, questions about meaning abound. Why are we here? Why did they have to die? What will the future bring? I hear grief fueling Mary and Martha's accusation of Jesus. We just heard Mary's, but she is echoing Martha's previous accusation when she too first saw Jesus. Both of them same words came out of their mouths. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." I can't blame them for being frustrated at Jesus. For he didn't drop everything and come right away when they first sent a message to him that Lazarus was ill. They have this now deep heartache that their beloved brother has died. The tears were flowing. Jesus, we're told, was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He literally groaned in his spirit and resonated with the gut-wrenching pain of Mary and Martha's grief. I believe that Jesus acknowledges our grief and honors our tears of bereavement, that all the ones we've ever shed. Today we remember loved ones who have died and been gathered into the church triumphant. And so I'm wondering, who is it that you're going to remember today or are remembering today? Maybe it's a family member or a close friend. Maybe it's someone who mentored you or cared for you. We're going to do something different today because I'm going to invite you in a moment to share your story about who's on your heart, who you're remembering with somebody sitting close near to you. But while you're thinking about that, of who you're remembering today and why, I'm going to go first. Because today I'm recalling my mother and father-in-law, George and Betty McVeigh. Betty died just this past September, and George died in December of 2022. Now, I was the very first son or daughter-in-law that they welcomed into their family, and they opened wide their hearts in love to me. They treated me as though I was one of their own children. And later, when our children were still young, we moved back north from Florida. We were only then 2 hours away from them. We lived in Indiana, they were in Ohio. And they took advantage of being so close to become more involved with us and our children's lives. And we spent many special occasions together, as well as their house kind of became like a second home for us and our family. And they even assisted in our move. When we did move from Florida to come north, they came and visited us one last time, and then they took our 15-month-old youngest one to back with them on the airplane, which allowed us a little less frustration in making the move, coming north with two of our other children in the car with us. And Susan and I also intend to continue a tradition that we saw them carry out as grandparents, which is to take each grandchild individually at around age 10 or 11 on their own special vacation adventure. And we're looking forward for the first one next summer. For they truly cherished building memories with their families and friends, and I was so richly blessed to have married into their family. So who do you remember today? What are your stories? I'm going to invite you right now to find a neighbor to share it with. If you're sitting with somebody that's in your own family and you can split up, that would be great. You might have to even move around a little bit, but go ahead. Share around, go around, find somebody that you're sitting nearby to share who it is that's on your heart and mind and what you remember. And up there in the choir too, you're expected to do it as well. Seems like most everybody's finishing up here, but I'm going to ask if anybody wants to share with the whole group here of who it is that they're remembering. I won't probably, the choir might get off the hook on this one because I don't get to go up there with the microphone. But I got a microphone out here for anybody that wants to share. We got something to share here? All right.
Liam, who do you remember today?
Victor.
And Victor was your mom's cousin, right?
Yeah.
And his body just wore out, right? And what happened then when his body wore out? So is there a piece of your mom's and your family's heart today remembering Victor?
Yeah.
Yes. So maybe you can light 2 candles, one for Victor too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing, Liam. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else has one they want to share? I know it's harder with the whole group to share. You got one? I saw. I don't know. I saw you go like this. I mean, you got to be careful what you.
I shared that I'm remembering my mom and dad today who raised me to be, in the Lutheran church, raised me to be a good Lutheran, although I've explored other faiths, and Chris responded, and look at you today being an acolyte.
All right. Any others that want to share? Well, hopefully that got you also ready to come up when we do have names that we're going to be listing, and we're going to kind of go through those slow. If you'll have time, you can come up and light a candle in memory of who it is that's in your heart and in your mind today. So we'll have a chance to do that in a moment. But thank you for sharing. And I want to kind of end this message back kind of where we started. Mary, Martha, and Jesus and the others are there at Lazarus' tomb. Jesus is moved to tears. I've always assumed that those tears were because his friend Lazarus had died, and his tears come in empathy to witnessing Mary and Martha's grief and their tears. But this year I happened to read a commentary that proposed another possible reason that Jesus had those tears and why Jesus wept. Remember that Jesus had delayed coming when he first got the message that Lazarus was ill, and he must have had a reason for doing that. Yet no one present at the tomb thought that he could do anything once Lazarus was dead. So perhaps his tears were because no one trusted his resurrection power. And his raising of Lazarus, really, this whole story foreshadows what's in store for him as well. I mean, even with the stone in front of the tomb, all that wrapped in the grave clothes. Can we trust also that this story foreshadows what's in store for us and for our loved ones? Today, Jesus not only calls Lazarus out of the tomb, he calls each of us out of whatever tombs we find ourselves in. Today, we hear him say to us, unbind him, unbind her, and let them go. This is Jesus' response to the disruption that death brings. He unbinds us from whatever inhibits our living in freedom and love. He unbinds us from all our worries and fears. He honors our tears and grief, ever ready to transform them into tears of joy. He calls us forth from death to life. And in doing so, he infuses all the saints, the living and the dead, with his love and a life that knows no end. Amen.